So we were talking about his experiences of where he started out. He was in UP Cadre, even though his home state was Tamil Nadu. And where did you start out? I think you were posted as an SSP somewhere.
As ASP.
ASP, I'm sorry, not SSP. ASP is the first level. SSP is much higher. I take that back. Go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
So I was posted as ASP under training at Agra, and Agra is famous for Chambal Valley, and so my practical training for 6 months was there, out of which 1 month was at Ba Police Station, BAH, Ba Police Station, right on the edge of Chambal.
I see.
So I stayed there for a month along with the police station staff.
So in this particular 1 month phase, the local inspector becomes your mentor.
Yes, he becomes my asan, and he whatever he says, I'll have to obey his orders. And so just like in National Police Academy, where the ustad and all, they will be teaching you various things, so they will be very polite in because they know that tomorrow you are going to be a big boss. So they'll be very polite in telling you what to do and what not to do and things like that. So similar situation here also, but then you get to know how they work and what is their situation and how they take decisions and all that.
So as part of your training, do you learn small arms, firing, range, things like that?
Of course, and as part of my IPS training itself, we have firing and all that. If I remember correctly, I was the first in sharpshooting.
I see.
In Police Academy. And later on also we handle a lot of weapons, when we are on such duties, we do take our 303 rifles and also pistols and things like that. So we have to handle.
How did it feel using the 303 for the first time? The whip back is pretty massive.
It's massive, and of course, yes, we get used to that and we get trained in that.
US 303 has been around for forever. It was used first in the Second World War, and when I was an NCC cadet, I actually learned shooting and so on, and that's how I know. I've done 2.2s, 3.8s, and 303, all three.
Wonderful.
And it's a feeling that's best described by try not to do 303. That if you don't have it flush on your shoulder, and if you fire, the kickback is so massive. You can shoot. You can break your collarbone.
Exactly.
Please continue.
So that is the kind of situation which we had, and after that I was posted as ASP Jhansi, which is an adjacent district to Agra, and it also has a lot of dacoity problems, and this Chambal Valley extends sometimes from the other side, and it shares borders with Gwalior, again a crime city. And that kind of Datia is another place in Madhya Pradesh which is known for criminals. So we are surrounded by criminals and dacoits all over. And so I was a regular ASP there. And after that, when I was promoted as SP, as I told you, there is a lot of problems with regard to vacancies and all that. And UP had the maximum number of officers in our batch, like 15 of us were there. And so they always found it difficult to find vacancies to accommodate all the 15, at once. And they had to create posts and, the kind of thing. So they created a new post called SP Intelligence Kumaon Range. So I was posted there. So I went up to, Himalayas. Kumaon comes under,
Right, that's the foothills of
foothills of
Himalayas. Right.
And then Pithoragarh is on the Himalayas. And Almoda is again,
that's a hill station.
Hill station. Yeah. So Nainital, Almoda, and Pithoragarh are the three districts which come under that. So on promotion, I served there.
That was undivided Uttar Pradesh. Today, that probably is Uttarakhand.
Yeah, Uttarakhand.
Just for establishing context.
True.
Yeah.
And after that, I went on a central deputation to Intelligence Bureau from there. And for about a year, I served in Delhi. But the conditions were not very suitable to my family, so I asked for repatriation back to UP. So I went there and then served in the crime branch for about 2 years. And that covered the western part of Uttar Pradesh. And from there, I came on central deputation again for the civil aviation sector as the Deputy Commissioner of Aviation Security at Madras.
Coming back home,
homecoming. So at Madras, looking after the entire southern region for the aviation security, I think that was a very good experience. And so we had exposure to ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization, and other operators, airline operators, airport operators, and that kind of thing. After that, I briefly went back to UP as AIG, the Assistant Inspector General in the DG's office. And so at that time, the Babri Masjid situation arose. I went in November, and in December I think it happened. So within a month or so. So I was in charge of movement of Central Police Organization forces which were sent there. So it was a hectic time. And after the thing was over, then I took study leave for about 2 years to do my MPhil and PhD. So in Madras University.
And your research area was in
aviation security in MPhil. In MPhil it was the defense studies, so with the aviation security specialty. And later on I did my PhD with the Agra University, that's called Dr. Ambedkar University now. So with them I did my PhD again on aviation security.
Wow. Now these was like 90s, in the 90s?
Sorry, yeah, in the 90s. Okay. After that, in 97, I was reposted to Chennai on Central Deputation with the CISF, Central Industrial Security Force, for the southern region again, for all the public sector undertakings, for security and all that. And 2002, I completed it, and then by the time I had become IG, the regular police, I submitted my papers for voluntary retirement in 2002. And after that, I went on to advise Reliance Industries.
So that's 16 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, you had the best time of your career and you walked away from it all.
Exactly. So the idea was again, to have a different kind of experience. And so 25 years I remained in the Indian Police Service, and I was served all over. I thought, why not this? So Mukesh Ambani, he recruited me, and so for 5 years I remained with them. First with the undivided Reliance Industries, and then later on when they split up, Anil Ambani's Reliance Communications needed somebody. So I said, as a professional, I will go. Then even though I was recruited by Mukesh. So I remained with them and set up the entire department for them, and then for about 2 years. And then for about a year I was with the GMR group.
It's the aviation group?
No, it is, yeah. So they are infrastructure based group, but then they did 2 airports. One is at Hyderabad and one is at Delhi. So because of my aviation experience, it was required. So I went there and assisted them in setting up these airports, and I was part of the security panel which went into this. And also towards the end of that, we acquired an airport in Istanbul also. The GMR group acquired it. So we all went, did the survey and things like that. And after that, I took a little break, and then finally I was with the Adani group. Before coming over to the US for about 6 months, or maybe a little more than that. So they needed help to set up their security department.
So your specialization has been mostly in security.
You are right.
And trying to make sure that any organization, what are its security concerns, how do you access them, how do you make sure?
Right.
Now, as part of this, do you also worry about for instance, see, this is all CIA stuff, but I'll just put it out there, you can correct me. They routine checking for embedded security devices like microphones and things like that. But that's only the small part. I mean, you can blanket...
you mean automation?
Automation, right. You can blanket the whole thing by making sure whatever they record there, has in a magnetic field, so nothing actually gets recorded. I mean, that's just a one way to mess that up. So in security, were you looking at it at a corporate level, or was also down to the individual level?
Well, it's a corporate security. You're right. I mean, when you are with the corporate, and it's a corporate security, and mainly to safeguard the assets of the corporation concerned, and it involves everything, right from the ground level to the executive level. So it involves, and you have experts for various fields recruited for that purpose, and then automation was one big chunk of the security duties. And nowadays it has become much more than what it used to be. It used to be a small chunk. Now automation has eliminated a lot of manpower from the situation. So, and another thing is, even for manpower, you outsource it to manpower organizations, and then you outsource. So the outsourced force need to be monitored closely, because their interest is not here, their interest is something else, but still they are hired, and then they take care of the manpower. So many other problems they take care, otherwise you will have to go into their recruitment and training and other formalities, and then job security, so many things are there. So these things are abolished. Corporates do it for very many, not only security but also in various departments. They outsource.
True. You're almost always a target of something or the other. You have to worry about internal security, external security.
That's right.
Sometimes competitors are also trying to look at what you are trying to do. There's also the sabotage angle, which
that's right.
you have to take a look at that too. I've had some experience of this, because in a previous life I used to have a startup in Chennai, and what had happened was we somehow let one virus slip through, and we used to ship CD-ROM. Software was on a CD-ROM, and the CD-ROM itself had a bug in it. I mean, it's a virus in it. So it became a massive challenge to take it back and redo it right, and so on and so forth. So this can be a huge impact if it isn't done right. So I understand that. Now, what prompted you to write the book?
Well,
we are not going to go into a lot of details on the book, so I just want to set the thing, because these are just, I'm trying to look at your thought processes as to what led you to write the book.
Okay, so after my Adani Group stint, I came to US to study. I came here as a student, so I got a regular admit card in one of the universities, I-94 and I-20, right, and this one. So a college in San Francisco, and then I took an interview there for the visa, so student visa, and then they were very happy to give me a student visa for 5 years. So I took all that and then landed here, and so whenever my friends or my son's friends, family friends, they heard my story, they said, wow, I mean, where is IPS and where is corporate sector, and now we are a student and things like that. So it wowed many people, and so I thought, so if it is wowing so many people, and people felt it's very inspiring, even at this age you are coming and studying here and doing these things. So they said, then I thought, why not write a book, so that if it is inspiring, whoever hears it is inspired. So then I thought I'll put it down in my...
Especially since in and around Tamil Nadu, there's an identity crisis manufactured by some groups, but really it's something that needs to be addressed. And I'm very happy that you have discovered your identity, and that comes out in your book.
Exactly. So in fact, what I have written is, I held my, it's not a question of rediscovering, but I held my identity to my heart, and I was very clear about it. So wherever I went, I stuck to certain principles, So that identity has got 4 parts. The first one is that I am a Hindu, and number 2 is that I am a Tamilian, 3 is that I am a Brahmin, and 4 is that I am a Sri Vaishnavan. So these 4 aspects, I kept it to my heart and stuck to it. And then whatever I did, it was like having a rope tied to this one, and then you go around and then explore. But then you are tied down to your identity, that kind of a situation.
Right.
So that helped me a lot. Otherwise, I would have drifted, and with all the opportunities and that kind of thing, I could have drifted. But I felt it was necessary.
It's amazing, because when I heard about your experience, I was also blown away. I said, wow, this is certainly somebody who is willing to be a student when many of us are getting ready for retirement.
And teaching. I mean,
now
at
you're
my
teaching.
stage, they would like to come and teach here. Even when I go back, they ask me, do you teach somewhere? So this one was, I've gone there to learn something new. Teaching is something old. What you already know, you are going to talk about it. Whereas here, as a student, you are going to learn something new. So I would rather learn new than.
This day and age, there's a saying. When I was a student, they used to say, knowledge doubles itself every 10 years. It means whatever was learned up until that year, in 10 years, it's going to double itself. Now, this equation has gone out of whack. Now they're saying that the knowledge is doubling itself every 3 years. So if a student enters college, by the time he's finishing, he's already obsolete. So this mindset that I want to learn new things is going to hold people in good stead for their entire lives. So I think in that way also you have become a trendsetter. It's very, very easy to hang up your boots and indulge in philosophy. I mean, you mentioned that you have 4 different facets to your life, and you can go to the last one. And this it's incredible. That's what many people try to do, because they try to seek that theism in their life and towards because that's what our Manusmriti says, right? I mean, you have dharma, artha, kama, and then look towards moksha. So it's incredible that you've experienced life in its fullest form, and we're going to see very new facets about Dr. Sampath in his book. So we'll keep you informed on when the book is going to be available, and who's going to be publishing it, and whether he's going to come to your city to release it. This is all going to happen in the near future. Thank you very much, Dr. Sampath.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so 17 minutes are perfect. This is the right amount. மக்களுக்கு வந்து
அட்டென்ஷன் ஸ்பேன் இதுக்கு மேல இருக்கு.
இல்ல பார்த்துட்டு தான் டிசைட் பண்றா, பார்க்கலாமா வேண்டாமான்னு. எத்தனை நாள் இருக்குன்னு பார்த்துட்டு தான் டிசைட்
கரெக்ட்
பார்க்கலாமா வேண்டாமா அப்படின்னு.
கரெக்ட்.
So இப்போ
இதுல I wanted to say the experiences between government and the private sector. So what I have done is, the psychological aspects of my experience only I have given more importance than actual events. Like first 100 pages on the events எல்லாம் முடிச்சிட்டேன். Remaining என்னுடைய observations, அப்புறம் what are the things which are moving my consciousness in my mind, thoughts, அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணேன். இப்போ ஒரு observation உங்களுக்கு கொடுக்குறேன். The private sector and public private sector
ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு. பரவாயில்லையா?
ஆயிட்டு இருக்கேன்.
நான் ரெக்கார்ட் நான் போட மாட்டேன்.
இருந்தாலும் பரவாயில்ல. அது இன்சர்ட் பண்ணணும்னு பண்ணிக்கோங்க. The one great advantage is, if now we are finding fault with so much with the governments, corruption, then we think only about government. We don't think about the private sector or any other sector, because we think that government, because it is handling tax money of the individuals, it is accountable for this. What we forget is private sector also is accountable, because that is handling public money by way of shareholders. Adha nama marandrom. So what happens is, I found public sector, it may be a generalization, there may be exceptions, I don't say no, but by and large they don't have an attitude towards corruption at all. Nothing appears to be correct, appears to be wrong, sorry. So you take the ICI situation where solid evidence has been brought out, still Chanda Kochar has been ratified by the board. So that is one solid example where the private sector doesn't think anything about corruption and morality and things like that.
Right.
Even in the private sector, I find even an ordinary employee is concentrating more on improving his wealth rather than wasting his time on issues like corruption and all that. So even when I brought out some important corruption issues, action was not being taken.
Wow. Profound.
Because it doesn't matter to them, you know. Ultimately, they look into the profits. If the profits are 1 billion and the theft is about, you know, 10 million, it's okay.
It's okay.
That kind of thing.
Top line is more important.
Yeah.